Hello everyone. I have a user submit a game today, around 1300 elo, from Monsieur Verdu. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Versus Time to Go. And Monsieur Verdu is playing Malians. Against Time to Go is Lithuanians. On Arabia, it looks like. Yeah. Alright, let's take a look. So it looks like he's scouting 2 sheep, which is good. Found his extras. I'm a fan of that shift clicking, that's good. Putting it with a nice close lumber camp. Looks like he's going for the one close to his TC. I would say, yeah, you know what, I'd probably go for the same one. Especially because you have to defend your berries anyway, so even if it is forward towards your, front of your base, I think it's a fine decision. I think this would be your second best option and probably your third best option here. Going 4 on wood here, pretty typical build order. Pushing some deer too, oh nice, fancy stuff. Alright, this takes a bit to do. Hunting and hopefully building some houses. Now obviously there's a lot going on at once there, so don't be discouraged if a deer goes back. Sometimes it's easier to lure the boar slightly earlier and then kind of push deer as you have time. I like the house walls here though, but this villager is chopping out just as they always seem to do. I don't know why, but they seem to do that. You're Malians, so if you're going to go for a drush, which I'm not sure if you are, but it looks like you might, build the barracks a little earlier. It's cheap for wood. I guess you might be doing men-at-arms too, it's hard to say here. But the build's looking really clean. Looks like you found your opponent, and you scouted in such a way that you didn't get anywhere near his TC. You spotted the gold and the deer. Good job. You've seen he's making the barracks. You see he's walling on the side. Alright. And it looks like you are going for a feudal age up. Okay. Men-at-arms build, I'm going to guess, or archers. When your opponent's walling like this, it's always tough to decide what to do. Because, if he manages to full wall and just go scouts, you kind of want to have men-at-arms banging on the walls or something, but... In this case, I think, do you know he's going scouts? Yeah, you do, so... I don't know where this guy's going. Typical. Yeah, build a couple spears. Gonna need them. Probably want to send your scout home too. It's one of those things where, I recognize when you noticed using scouts, you might have been able to wall, but if you did, it would have been like a 4 or 5 villager effort. And if you weren't able to finish it, it would have been a pain. So, I agree with the decision that it might have been tough to decide to do that. Archers are good. Yeah, still fights here. Got 2 spears. You need a few more on food, maybe 2 more farms, just so you can keep constant build production there. But 7 on gold is kind of the perfect number for 2 archery ranges. Maybe you could get away with 6, but something like that. You probably don't want to send any more to gold, or else you'll have more than you need. Wood's good, yeah. I think it's good. So it looks like you got a pretty typical archer build here. Your opponent is adding an archery range as well. So this is the part where it's tough, because your opponent's kind of got a nice, easy to wall map, and if you go forward, he might hit you somewhere. But if you stay at home, he'll probably castle first. So you're kind of in trouble if you do, and in trouble if you don't. So I definitely, I agree with this. I think you hit him at some point. And I think this is the perfect spot to try and at least do some damage. Farms probably aren't terrible either, but... Now, I would say, right, yeah, this is good timing. I'm a big fan of this. Getting fletching right as you go over there. And see if you can lure him into some damage. Good stuff. And I would say, when you're this close to finishing the wall on both sides... oh, good micro here. Nice work. You also want to never stop building archers, just because, especially with 8 on gold, you're going to have more gold than you need. But yeah, so what you're doing with this villager, I would actually recommend, yeah, and you're doing it anyway, so. Now, if you see skirms, You got two options here. You don't need to get the armor upgrade if you're not going to engage. If you're going to engage with that army, then I recommend getting the armor upgrade. It'll save you some damage. In this case, he's kind of behind walls, so I probably would skip it and just go to Castle Age faster, but it's still going to be tough to castle pretty quick. Okay, so you're walled on that side. You'll be walled on this side. Now, this is the tough part, right? Because when you see that many skirms, you kind of got to make a decision. And the decision is, do I run away entirely, or do I add a stable and go a couple scouts? And I think in this case, you just run. And in fact, I'd probably go home. Just because this army can mop you up with good micro. And it runs fast because it's Lithuanians, so it can be very sketchy. Obviously, it doesn't have the upgrades, so if you fight right now, it's not terrible. I mean, you don't have the armor upgrade, so it might not be great either, but... Ooh, yeah, this is... When you see that with that spear, run straight to a hill. That's, you don't know, again, you got fletching, so... You are getting a market, okay. You buy your way up, and makes sense. So yeah, when you're running like this is where if you have one stable, yeah, there you go. Nice work. But obviously, that's why I was saying it might have been better to run home a little earlier. Because obviously that army could help you out. Looks like you're switching though. Still building some archers, but going to cav as well. Against Lithuanians, I think that makes a lot of sense. You know almost for sure they're going to go knights and monks and stuff like that. And if you go camels, you can defend pretty easy. Be super watchful of this. When you have a gate too, I'd always recommend, yeah, there you go, good job. I also believe someone was telling me that you can shift click after, so after you finish chopping a tree, it builds the buildings. So maybe give that a try as well. I should too, although I'm more... Okay, let's see here. So he's got knights. I would say, yeah, just do camels. You know what? They're cheaper. They're better against knights. This fight looks like it's a tough fight still. If he microed his skirms really well, this would be a dangerous fight for you, I think. I would definitely be retreating, absolutely. At least at the choke point, you might have a chance here. But yeah, go pure camels here. I'd say this is no more archers, just 100% camels. Now it looks like you're doing that. You got a nice economy going. 17 farms, 2 TCs. This is actually looking a lot cleaner than I would have expected for a 1300 rated player, so good job. Your opponent's got a lot of knights. But yeah, you definitely use the one knight to hit the skirms, and yeah, I know he's retreat with the archers. Looks like he's not microing the skirms. If he was, this would be a really, really difficult fight. Even with him not, it looks like you might be slightly losing this fight. By a lot, but... Yeah, it looks pretty close. Oh, he's running away. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. If those were shooting your archers through the whole fight, I think he would have mopped you up. He wouldn't have had much left, but... But I definitely agree with this, adding some monks. Good idea. And your economy looks really clean. Now, I think this is... Going forward here is probably not the best idea. Just... It was too close. When you have really close numbers, like that fight back here, if you go forward, then you're going to go near their production buildings, and that can be bad, obviously. And you went there, you had a monk there too, which... At the same time, you did deny the siege workshop, which is a good thing. Not sure why the score is so different here. Let's see here. Let's see if I know. So you got 54 villagers. Ooh, I don't like this fight though. It's a very dicey fight. I mean, you got a few units there, but it's tough because I think now he's got the military advantage, and it's one where there's this nice open area. So he's got 59 villages, you got 55. I think in this game would be incredibly close, right before that attack there. And here, yeah, I think 100% camels, and you need to have, for them to be cost effective, you need roughly as many camels as there are knights. So if he has 8 knights, you need 8 camels. Don't fight like this. Go hide in your base and send these villagers back here to get wood and build farms or something, because this is kind of snowballing a little bit right now, where your opponent is yeah, you got these skirms there, so I mean, it's still not the most cost-efficient fight, but it's definitely not great either. So yeah. Other than that, your economy looks pretty clean. Starting to mine stone around now, which makes a lot of sense. Looks like you have wheelbarrow, which makes sense. You want to stall right here. When you want to stall, build a siege shop. And you have some walls already, and you can try and build behind them. It's okay. He can't get, well, I guess you're just being careful there, but he can't get in. It's diagonal, so. But, and this is the part where I would actually say, you want to just add, you want to make sure your production building's 100% utilized. He's killing his own knights here. That's fortunate too. Vills are secondary. I mean, obviously you want to still build vills, of course, but if you can match the number of knights, and obviously a couple extra because there's some monks here, you'll be good, so. Nice work there. And build some houses in the back. Yeah, there you go. Barracks. I don't know if you need a barracks. Don't fight here. Ooh, this is... Where's his cav? That actually might be a good fight for you. Now that I look at it. Where did all his cavalry go? I thought he had a lot more. Anyways. Good job there. So anyways, the pure camels really work there. Nice job. And here, this is where you make that judgment call. Do I stay or do I run? I think you run here. Once those knights get in the battle... Okay, now you should be okay. Still looking close, yeah. Get out of there, yeah. Okay, TC going here. Fair enough. Add some villager fire, get in the TC, and okay, you got it. You got it. So it's looking like a really close fight right now. Those knights are getting beastly, geez, for those relics. 13 attack. I like this castle right here. I'm happy you didn't make it too greedy too, because it could be dicey if there's a mangonel or something. And knights and skirms. And what this does is this just stops your opponent's push entirely right here. Makes it super annoying. If he wants to attack you now, he's got to go around to either side. And you don't need to fight here, though. I would say I would actually choose not to. Yeah. Unless you have more. Unless you're 100% sure you have more. Because 13 attack knights on a kind of on a hill. You can add pikemen. You don't need to. I mean, it's one of those things where you've stopped the push essentially, and looks like you'll have stone soon for a second castle. Ooh, this fight. This is not looking like a great fight to me. Especially when you're about to get pikemen, and there's no imminent threat. You only want to take fights that are advantageous to you. So I think that's the big thing to take away from this. And your opponent is healing his army, and you are too, it looks like. Okay, that's good. And yeah, if you're going to want to push this hill before Imp, then I would say add pikemen, which it looks like you're doing. Add a few monks, add some more camels. You could even add some, what are those, Gabettos? They do a lot of damage, actually. What's your opponent doing? Because this is where... Okay, he's trying to go Imp here. So this is where it'd be nice to have this hill. If you gotta make a decision one or the other. And it looks like you've made the decision to try and take this hill. This is a really good time for you to fight, just because your opponent's going Imp. So I'm a big fan of this fight, even if you lose it slightly. I mean, obviously it's not ideal, but... But if you can get a castle on this hill, I mean, I think it's looking like pretty dicey right now just because your opponent has so much more economy and he's on the way to Imp. So even though you might be able to take his army now, it gets harder and harder. Looks like he's going infantry here. Your economy still looks incredibly clean for a 1300. I mean, obviously the wood's a little inefficient, but yeah, now it gets a little dicey here. And in a case like this, it all comes down to the numbers, right? And I think it's hard to... When knights have 15 attack, they're, you know, basically 50% more attack than normal. So sometimes it's easy to underestimate how strong they actually are. But yeah, after you see this, I think you gotta... You can't really push this hill anymore. It's just... you gotta go imp yourself right here. And I mean, obviously it's not going to be easy to do. Yeah, okay. Called it there. So... I gotta say, I don't think this doesn't feel like a 1300 game to me. I know you said it was 1300 elo, but it definitely feels like a higher rating with these house walls, your opponent's economy, gathering relics, controlling the hill, adding monks, and even for yourself, like your boom was pretty clean. You know, maybe I didn't check all the upgrades as they were going, but maybe that's something to focus on. I would say the biggest things for you would be learning when to fight and trying to avoid fighting when you have less army. And then I think there was more than one fight where it was, and it's hard to eyeball that sometimes. You know, the funny thing is, if you didn't have those relics and you didn't have +4, +5 attack, you would probably have cleaned that army up no problem. So I do understand that it's difficult to tell sometimes, but I do think if you maybe focused a little bit more on military and, you know, added a 3rd stable or 4th stable pretty early, and then got the attack upgrade. I think it was missing for a little while, and pushed this hill with the pikemen, and maybe not as early as you did, but once you had a little bit more army, because when he clicked up, he, you know, spent a lot of resources on that. That might have given you the flexibility to take out this army and put your own castle on top of this hill, take this gold, and, you know, he might have still hit him, but at least you would have, you know, you're threatening this gold too at that point, so you might have had him on the ropes. But obviously you're coming back at that point in time, and always difficult to come back from situations where your opponent's a little bit ahead in economy. He's got the relics, which make his units more stronger, and also got kind of this hill where he's kind of camping on. So, but thanks for sending me the game, Monsieur Verdot, and hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, take care.